What's good, YouTube? Welcome back to our YouTube channel. Today I got another video in our player comparison series. I'm going to be comparing Cade Cunningham and Scottie Barnes. I think this is an interesting matchup between the two, not because I think that Scottie Barnes has a chance to go ahead of Cade in any situation in the draft, but I think it's interesting because they both have very unique skill sets. They both are very versatile players, and they both have really high upside in my opinion. And so I think it's an interesting comparison, and I think that, you know, like I said, they compare well to each other. And so with that being said, let's get into the video. So starting on the offensive side of the ball, I think both players compare well to each other. The only difference on paper, I think, will be how they're classified positionally. Cade Cunningham is going to be considered a point guard. That's the position that he played in college, and that's the position he'll play in the NBA. Where someone like Scottie Barnes is considered by many a forward, either a 3 or a 4. But at Florida State, he initiated the offense and basically played point guard for that team. And so he's going to be considered more, I guess, of a point forward, while Cade is a pure point guard. Not sure why that is, but I guess that's just how it's going to probably be throughout their NBA career. Looking at the skill sets of the two, Scottie Barnes and Cade, again, compare very well to each other. I've talked about Cade a ton on this channel. He's a 6'8" point guard who sees the floor very well, can score at all 3 levels, can get to the hoop. I love that he, posts up smaller guards, isn't afraid of doing that, can utilize the pick and roll, get into the mid-range area, shoot the 3 ball, which was really the question mark going into colleges, if he could do that, and he answered that, shooting 40%. So Cade's a very well-rounded prospect who doesn't have a whole lot of holes in his offensive game. You look at someone like Scottie Barnes, and he's a player who's just got so much potential on that end of the floor, just because at the moment his jump shot isn't really developed. He didn't shoot the ball as well as he probably wanted to in his college season, but he offers a lot of those same skill sets that Cade Cunningham has at 6'8", 6'9", with a 7'2" wingspan. And so he's also someone who sees the floor very well. He's a forward who, like I said, can initiate the offense, can get you into your actions, and can relieve some of the point guard duties of the traditional point guard on the floor, while also creating mismatches with his size. And what I like about Scottie too is he's not afraid of contact. He can go into the paint. He's not afraid of posting up smaller guys. He uses his physicality to his advantage, and he's very long. He can get to the hoop and finish with those long arms. He's looking to dunk everything, and he's really someone who competes on that end of the floor, and like I said, has a lot of versatility with his ball handling ability, his ability to pass the ball, and hopefully a jump shot that is in development and can eventually develop at the NBA level. I think he becomes a scary player if he can put it all together, which is kind of the big question mark, I guess, with him, is if he can put it together and find the right fit, offensively at least, to really expand his offensive game and become a player that I think a lot of us think he can be in the NBA.
I just like the sound of it.
Moving over to the defensive side of the ball, I think this is actually an area of the game where Scottie Barnes could separate himself from a player like Cade Cunningham. Again, they're very similar, in my opinion, in terms of they're 6'8", they got size, they got athleticism, and they can probably switch 1 through 4, maybe 1 through 5 in today's NBA. And so that makes them very versatile and valuable players in the league, as everyone's looking to switch everything. And so having 2 players that can do that without any problem, I think that's a plus, and makes them some of the more valuable prospects in the draft just because of that. The reason why I say Scottie may have the advantage over Cade is that I think Cade is going to have a larger offensive role in the NBA, especially early in his career. And so I think that some of that energy is probably going to be saved more for the offensive side for Cade, where someone like Scottie, I think a team's going to try bring him along a little slower and let him really develop that offensive side of his game. And so in order to get on the floor to provide valuable minutes for a team, I think he's going to really dedicate himself to the defensive end of the ball, or side of the ball, and make a name for himself that way. He's got the size at 6'8", some sites have him at 6'9". He's got a 7'2", maybe plus wingspan, and he really uses that well as he's deflecting passes, altering shots at the rim, just being a pest defensively. And the thing that I really like about Scottie is that he competes. He's not scared of anyone. I think he's going to bring that energy to the NBA, and he's going to just, try and go at everyone on the defensive side of the ball. And I think that's a plus. I think that's, something that could really separate him from some of these other players in the draft, is that the dude competes, he wants it, and I think you can kind of see that energy that he brings on the floor when he plays. And so I think, again, that's something that could separate himself from Cade. Now, is that enough to, ultimately make him a better prospect than Cade? I don't think so. But, again, defensively, I don't think you can go wrong with either player. But someone like Scottie could be all defense, throughout his career. And so I think that could separate the two. So overall, comparing the two, I think that they're both two really versatile prospects who have very high ceilings. I think what kind of separates the two, in my opinion, is that I think Cade's kind of just a lock in terms of an NBA player. I think he is a high floor, high ceiling type player. If he doesn't live up to the hype, I still think that he's an average to an above average, NBA level player, just because his skill set fits so well with today's NBA, and he sees the game so well. I just think it's hard to see, a scenario outside of injuries, of course, where he doesn't just work out and become, a very good, NBA player. Someone like Scottie Barnes, in my opinion, he's got a little bit of a lower floor just because he's so raw right now, and he's also got that high ceiling, which is exciting and intriguing, I think, to teams. But I think ultimately Scottie Barnes comes down to fit and where he gets drafted to. I think he needs to go to a team that is going to allow him to really expand his offensive game, allow him to play that point guard position, allow him to make mistakes, and kind of bring him along, I think, slowly in terms of letting him figure it out. Give him some time, because I think he's going to make mistakes early. I don't think he's going to be the perfect offensive player early in his career, but I mean, his defense upside is insane. He's got, the size, the frame, the wingspan, all of that to be an elite player on that end of the floor. And when you combine that with, the raw offensive ability that he has, I think that, creates, one of the most versatile players that you could have in the NBA. I mean, I've seen player comparisons for him to someone like Giannis in terms of just, a skill set that he brings to the game. And so, again, a high upside type player, but I think also could have a little bit of lower floor just based on, being so raw and being, I think, kind of fit determined, And so it'll be interesting to see how his career develops. Like I said, I think Cade's kind of a lock for being an average to above average player, worst case scenario. And so those are kind of just my thoughts on the two players. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts down in the comment section below. Make sure to hit the like and subscribe button, and I'll talk to you guys later.